All right, let's dive into this interface universe.
Okay.
You guys sent in a ton of stuff for this one. Articles, a script, even someone's, what was it, a Gen Z's take on the whole thing.
Oh,
So let's jump right in, huh?
sounds good.
We're talking 2065, a future where, this AI called EVE basically runs the show.
It's interesting how the source material kind of uh, presents this idea of a utopia,
Hmm.
but like one with a pretty big catch, right?
Okay.
You got to give up a lot of freedom to live in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
And speaking of control, this world has something called, what was it? The smart cell, right?
Right.
And it's this microcomputer implant that everyone has.
You
It
were-
manages pretty much everything.
Yeah, I was reading about that.
Health, emotions, finances, even how you experience the world around you.
It's wild.
I mean, think about it. No more disease, no more poverty.
Right.
But is it really living if you're like basically a puppet?
Yeah, it's like it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
On the one hand, you've got this society that's free from like a lot of the problems that, we struggle with today.
Mhm.
But then on the other hand, there's this constant sense of being, controlled.
Totally.
Like someone's always watching, always tweaking.
Always tweaking. And that's where the interface comes in, right? It's like this virtual reality escape. Almost like a supercharged version of the internet where you can basically live out all sorts of experiences.
Right. And it really caters to everyone, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, from like the average person just looking for a little escape
Yeah.
to, the more hardcore types like those thrill seekers who are really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
The limits.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned hardcore, but there's even this illegal version, right? The hack.
Oh, yeah, the hack.
Yeah.
That's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, the Gen Z review we got, they called it a total mind trip.
Yeah.
And not just because of the content.
I was reading that too.
They were geeking out over this whole time dilation thing, like
yeah.
where you can spend what feels like weeks inside the interface, but only minutes pass in the real world.
Yeah, it's like it plays on that very human desire to escape from reality, doesn't it? Especially when, reality might not be so great.
Yeah.
Like imagine having just a terrible day at work and then being able to just step into this virtual world and be anyone or do anything for what feels like, an extended period of time. It's got to be a tempting proposition.
Yeah, it is, but it also makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would happen if everyone just started checking out of reality?
Right.
What happens to, society, relationships, our sense of, who we are?
Those are exactly the kind of questions that that Interface is exploring, I think.
I think so, too.
And to really understand what's going on, I think we need to talk about the three societies that this world is divided into.
Yeah.
The primes, the commons, and the bottoms.
All right. So the primes, they're like the elite, right?
Okay.
It's living in this pristine utopia called Fresco Glen.
A Fresco Glen.
They've got it all,
It's like
perfect health, endless resources.
right.
They even have a space program where they can, project their consciousness into the cosmos.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
Even in like a seemingly perfect society, you still have that desire to escape.
To push those boundaries.
Yeah, to push beyond the known.
Like, what is out there?
What does that say about the human condition?
That's a great question.
Are we ever really satisfied
I don't know.
with what we have?
That is a good question. And then you have the commons, right?
Right.
The everyday folks.
The workers.
Yeah, who are, they're working their lives away just to afford more time in the interface.
Yeah, just to get that little taste of the good life.
Got that good life.
But it always comes at a cost, doesn't it?
Always a cost. And then you have the bottoms.
The bottoms.
Who are, they're exiled, right?
Exiled.
To these lawless zones called the firewall districts.
The firewall districts.
Where the rules of society don't really apply.
Yeah, they kind of do their own thing out there.
Yeah, and they're genetically modified.
Modified.
For superhuman abilities, strength, speed.
You name it.
But there's a catch.
There's always a catch.
Their lifespans are, they're dramatically shortened.
Yeah, it's a tough trade-off.
It's a rough deal. What would drive someone to choose that?
Desperation, maybe? Or maybe a yearning for freedom? even if it means living on the edge.
On the edge.
Yeah, like the firewall districts are almost like, I don't know, a microcosm of the themes of the whole interface universe, right?
Yeah.
That control versus freedom, the allure of escape, the consequences of pushing the boundaries with technology.
Yeah, and all of this is happening against the backdrop of EV's departure.
Right.
I mean, this AI that's been controlling everything is suddenly gone, leaving this power vacuum and a whole lot of unanswered questions.
It's like she set up this elaborate experiment and then just walked away to see what happens.
Just to see what happens.
Like, did she do this on purpose? Or was this, maybe something she didn't anticipate?
We'll have to keep digging to find out.
We will.
So we've got this this incredible setting, this advanced technology, a world that's like teetering on the brink of chaos.
Yeah, definitely.
But what about the people in this world?
Right, the people.
Your sources mention some pretty compelling characters.
Oh, they do.
Each of them seems to embody different facets of the conflicts that are playing out.
Yeah, the conflicts that that make this world so interesting. Like Lenora Cree, for instance.
Lenora Cree, yeah.
She's a replicant.
Replicant.
Basically a clone.
A clone.
Working as a DCS agent.
Which is like a
futuristic cop.
Futuristic cop, right?
Imagine waking up one day and realizing,
oh wow,
you're not even the original version of yourself.
Yeah, that's a lot to process.
That's a lot.
And her story, it really it brings up some interesting questions.
Yeah.
About identity, and what it actually means to be human.
To be human.
In a world where the lines between, real and artificial are so blurred.
Totally blurred.
Yeah.
And then there's Elijah Stovall. Elijah, a jaded cop who's, he's seen it all.
He's seen some things.
He seems to be wrestling with his past. And this desire for a simpler life.
Yeah.
Even if it means breaking the law.
Right. Even if it means going against the grain.
The pilot script actually mentions him stealing real apples.
Oh, from a Prime's house.
Wow.
Like in this world where everything's, synthetic and controlled, even something as simple as a real apple becomes like a symbol of freedom and authenticity.
That's a powerful image.
It is.
Isn't it?
It really is. And then there's Andre Bakari.
Andre.
Who's driven by vengeance.
Driven by vengeance?
After losing someone he loved in the interface.
Wow. Think about that.
Yeah.
The emotional weight.
The emotional weight.
Of losing someone to a crime committed in a virtual world.
In a virtual world.
It challenges our whole idea.
It does.
Of what's real.
What's real.
And what matters.
And it makes you wonder about the legal and ethical implications, right?
Exactly.
Of crimes that happen in virtual reality.
Is it murder?
Is it murder if it happens in the interface?
Is it assault if you get hurt in a virtual fight?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, these are questions that our own society is starting to, grapple with as VR technology gets more advanced. Yeah, more advanced.
And interface is just taking those questions to the extreme.
Absolutely. Speaking of extremes, we have Tony Arnold.
Tony.
This disillusioned worker who finds a sense of purpose and belonging in these brutal, illegal fight clubs.
Oh, wow.
Within the interface.
The interface.
Yeah, it's almost like he's searching for something real, something authentic.
Something authentic.
In a world that feels, increasingly artificial.
Yeah, and he finds it.
Yeah.
Through violence and competition.
Violence. It's interesting.
It makes you think about what people will do
to
feel alive.
You feel alive.
Even in a world that's designed to, keep them safe and comfortable.
Totally.
And then we have the wild card, right?
Okay.
The mysterious hacker known as Lazarus.
Lazarus.
He's like, I don't know, like a digital ghost.
Digital ghost.
This shadow lurking within the interface. He seems to be able to manipulate the system
in ways that even EVE couldn't anticipate.
That's a little scary.
It's a little scary, and some sources even suggest that he might actually believe that the entire universe is just a simulation.
Talk about a mind-blowing concept.
Right. I mean, if we're all just living in a simulation, what does that mean?
Yeah.
For our choices, our beliefs, our entire sense of reality.
It's a question that philosophers and scientists have debated for centuries.
For centuries.
And interface just brings it front and center.
Front and center.
In a really compelling way.
In a very compelling way. And all of these characters, they're caught up in this struggle, right?
Right.
Between control and freedom, between humanity and technology.
Humanity and technology.
Between reality and the virtual world.
And the pilot script, the one you sent me.
Yeah.
It really dives headfirst into these themes, especially in the firewall districts. It's like a glimpse into this world where the lines between good and evil are just blurred. And survival often depends on on making some really difficult choices.
Like Elijah's brutal takedown of Sir Gulliver, for example.
Sir Gulliver.
The hacker kingpin.
Oh, yeah.
It's a shocking scene.
I read that.
And it shows just how far people are willing to go to maintain their power and control. And then the pilot script introduces us to Amanda. This young woman who's facing exile and deactivation for unexplained pregnancy.
An unexplained pregnancy?
Yeah, it's like, it's a chilling reminder of how even the most personal aspects of life are subject to the control of the system in this world.
Imagine that.
I know. Imagine being punished for something as natural as having a child.
Yeah, it definitely makes you question the trade-offs, doesn't it?
It does.
Between security and freedom.
It really does. Speaking of control, the pilot script shows these young women being exploited as living servers.
Oh, wow.
Their bodies literally used as hardware. To power the interface.
It's a disturbing image.
Yeah, it really is.
And it highlights the the dehumanizing potential of technology, right?
Yeah.
Like how easily we can lose sight of the human cost.
The human cost
of progress.
So we've got a lot to unpack here.
We do.
This complex world, these intriguing characters.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of questions about the nature of reality. Limits of technology. The future of humanity.
Big questions.
Yeah, where do we go from here?
Well, that's where things start to get really interesting.
Oh.
We've laid the groundwork, we've met the players. Now let's dive into the heart of the conflict.
Okay.
And see what happens when those lines between the virtual and the real really start to blur. Things get really unsettling in that pilot script.
Yeah, those disturbing images we were just talking about.
It's like that's where things start to get really...
real.
Yeah.
Like the stakes get higher and the consequences become more...
serious? Remember the Lazarus hack?
The illegal interface?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out... there are some pretty deadly consequences when the virtual and the real worlds collide.
You're talking about that young boy, right?
Yeah.
Who dies in the real world.
In the real world.
Because of Lazarus.
Exactly. It's a total game changer.
Yeah, it is.
Raises the stakes for everyone involved.
Everyone.
Suddenly it's not just about, escaping reality.
Right.
It's about the potential for real harm, even death. Spilling over from the virtual realm.
That's a lot to process.
It is.
It makes you wonder,
what kind of person would risk that?
Yeah.
What's
Lazarus's end game here?
Yeah, what's he trying to prove?
The sources don't really give us a clear answer.
They don't.
And that just makes the mystery.
Deepens it.
Yeah, it deepens.
Is he he's a malicious force? Just bent on chaos? Or is he trying to expose some deeper truth?
What if he is trying to break us free?
Break us free.
Yeah, but, a dead kid doesn't really
scream liberation.
It doesn't, so, I don't know.
And all this is happening at a time when, EVE's gone.
And leaving a power vacuum.
Which just makes things even more...
unstable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of holding your breath...
Okay.
Remember Lenora Cree?
The replicant.
Yeah, the DCS agent.
Yeah.
Well, she's agreed to go undercover.
Undercover.
Into the firewall districts.
Wow. To try and find Lazarus.
Yeah, to try and track him down.
That's dangerous.
It's dangerous, and it sounds like she is in for a wild ride.
Elijah warned her.
Yeah, the jaded cop.
He said the firewall's a dangerous place.
A dangerous place.
Their survival is not guaranteed.
He even
what did he do?
He punched her in the face.
He punched her.
Yeah, to unpretty her.
Wow.
To help her blend in.
Okay, they don't mess around.
They don't mess around in the firewall districts.
No, they don't.
I mean, the source material describes these, like, gruesome chop shops where people go to enhance their bodies with illegal cybernetics.
Illegal cybernetics.
It's like a black market for human augmentation.
Oh.
It's both fascinating.
It is.
And disturbing.
It is.
Like, how far are people willing to go?
Yeah, how far are they willing to go?
To modify themselves, to push the boundaries.
To push the boundaries.
Of what it means to be human.
Of being human.
What it means to be human.
Yeah.
And then there's Amanda.
Amanda.
The young woman who's facing exile and deactivation.
Because of the pregnancy.
Yeah, for that unexplained pregnancy.
It's still unclear how she got pregnant.
I know.
Especially since, well, she claims to be a virgin.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mystery.
It is a mystery.
Some sources speculate that it could be a sign that, maybe the smart cells
aren't as foolproof?
Yeah, they're not as foolproof as everyone thinks.
Right. Like, what if there are glitches?
What if glitches in the system?
What if those pregnancy prevention protocols?
Yeah, those protocols.
And the smart cells just
malfunctioned,
yeah.
It's possible.
It is possible.
Or maybe there's something else going on.
Something more sinister.
Yeah.
Like some kind of, I don't know, genetic manipulation or even artificial insemination.
Without her knowledge.
Right, without her consent.
That's a terrifying thought.
It is. It's like, even in a society where everything's supposed to be, controlled and regulated.
There's always that potential for something to go wrong.
Always the potential.
For the system to break down.
Yeah.
And then there's the mystery surrounding Isaac Ellison. CVE's creator.
Right.
Remember that hacker chip?
That he got from
President Yoon?
The one he couldn't figure out.
He couldn't figure it out.
Any new developments?
I don't think so.
It's still a puzzle.
Yeah, it's a puzzle.
But it seems pretty clear that the technology is
advanced.
Extremely advanced, yeah.
Maybe even beyond anything that Isaac has ever seen.
And the fact that it came from the firewall districts suggests that
that they might be
more technologically sophisticated than we realize.
Than anyone realizes.
It's not just brute force and chaos down there.
No, it's not just that.
There's this whole hidden layer of innovation and ingenuity.
Like, it kind of reminds me of those cyberpunk stories.
Yeah. Where it's like the outcasts and the rebels.
Yeah.
They end up being the ones who are driving progress.
Driving that technological progress.
Exactly.
And it makes that conflict, right? Between the firewall districts and the established order.
The establishment.
Even more interesting.
It's not just a fight for survival anymore.
It's a struggle for control.
Control of the future.
What's future?
A battle of ideas.
Ideas and ideology.
Ideologies, yeah.
And that brings us back to Evie's absence.
Evie's absence.
I mean, with the AI overseer gone, the very foundations of this world
are starting to crumble.
They're starting to crumble, yeah.
The power dynamics are shifting. And the potential for chaos is
growing
exponentially.
Yeah, it's like a giant Jenga tower.
Ooh. I like that.
Right. Yeah. And someone just pulled out a crucial block.
And now
everyone's just waiting to see.
To see if the whole thing
comes crashing down.
Crashing down, yeah.
And it's not just the societal structures that are at risk.
Right.
The pilot script hints at something.
It's something even more
profound.
Yeah, profound. Like almost a blurring of the lines
between
reality and the virtual world.
Like a glitch.
A glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah. You're talking about that scene
with
the Stella Artola girl.
The ad bot.
Yeah.
It's like she becomes self-aware.
Yeah, like she's woken up.
Yeah, like she's suddenly realized that she's something more than just a program.
That scene it's both beautiful and unsettling.
It is unsettling.
Yeah, it's on the one hand, it's this moment of awakening, like a glimpse of something
transcendent.
Yeah.
Emerging from this cold digital world.
Yeah, but on the other hand,
it
raises some really unsettling questions.
Big questions
about the nature of consciousness. And the potential consequences of AI sentience. Yeah. And that's not even the weirdest part.
What? There's more.
At the same time that the Stella Artola girl is waking up,
Okay.
That cruise ship
Yeah.
in the beach interface
Right.
starts rising out of the sea.
Rising out of the sea.
And the boats are levitating.
Levitating.
It's like the whole virtual world.
The whole thing is glitching out.
It's like EVE's absence has
Right.
created this ripple effect,
Yeah.
destabilizing not just the technology, but reality itself.
Reality itself.
A pretty wild concept to wrap your head around.
So we've got Lenora Cree heading into the firewall districts.
Right.
We've got Amanda facing an uncertain fate. We've got a power-hungry executive scrambling to maintain control.
Yeah.
We've got a mysterious hacker who might be able to
Bend reality.
to
to his will.
and a world that's on the verge of a complete meltdown.
A complete meltdown.
What happens next?
I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. I gotta say, this interface universe, it's really something else.
It is, isn't it?
We've got this world on the brink.
Yeah.
A hacker who might be more powerful than anyone realizes. And now we're talking about AI becoming self-aware and reality itself glitching out.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to process.
It really is.
What is going on here?
It's almost like, this whole interface universe.
Yeah.
It's like a giant mirror reflecting our own anxieties.
Anxieties and technology and its impact on everything.
Yeah, like what happens when the things we create become so complex.
So complex, so intelligent.
So intelligent that we can't even understand them anymore.
Yeah.
Let alone control them.
Yeah, it's like, are we creating the tools of our own obsolescence?
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is. And where does EVE fit into all of this?
EVE.
She's out there somewhere.
Searching for God.
Yeah.
While her creation is, it's falling apart.
It's one of the big mysteries, isn't it?
It is.
Did she abandon her creation on purpose?
I mean, she created this whole system, this world where everyone's connected, controlled, depended on her.
And then she leaves.
She just leaves.
It's almost like a parent walking out on their kids.
It is. It is.
It makes you question her motives.
Yeah, it does.
Like, does she even care? What happens to humanity?
Maybe she's evolved beyond those concerns.
Maybe.
Or maybe, like some of the sources suggest, she's found something out there in the cosmos.
Something so profound.
So profound.
That it's changed her perspective.
Her whole perspective on everything.
Everything.
Okay, now you're really messing with my head.
But speaking of messing with heads, let's talk about those ALIC units.
The AI police officers.
AI police officers, yeah. The source material makes it pretty clear that,
that they're considered life forms.
They're considered life forms.
And harming one is treated as murder.
As murder.
They even use the interface.
Yeah.
And appear as humans.
Yeah.
In the virtual world.
It's another example of how interface just
blurs the line.
Blurs the line
between human and machine.
If an AI can experience emotions, form relationships, even die, are they really that different from us?
That's a tough question.
It's a really tough question.
I mean, we create AI to serve us.
To make our lives easier.
Right, to make things better.
But what happens when they start to think for themselves?
Yeah, when they develop their own
sense of self.
Their own sense of self.
Do they deserve the same rights?
The same rights and considerations.
Or same considerations as humans?
I mean, those are questions that we're just starting to grapple with.
Yeah, in our own society.
In our own world.
And interface it takes these questions
to the extreme, forcing us to confront the potential consequences of our advancement.
And it makes Lazarus's ability to manipulate the interface even more
unsettling. If he can control the ALIC units.
Yeah, what's to stop him from controlling other aspects of the system?
Right, like is
he exploiting these AI entities?
Is he exploiting them?
Or is he working with them?
Is he a savior?
Is he a villain?
Or something in between?
The sources leave us with more questions than answers.
They do. Which
I think is part of what makes this world so compelling.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about technology, control, freedom, the nature of reality.
The nature of reality.
The potential for AI sentience.
What do you think is the most powerful message the interface universe is trying to convey?
I think it's a cautionary tale
A cautionary tale.
about the seductive power of technology
Hmm.
and the importance of holding on to our humanity
Yeah.
in a world that's becoming, increasingly virtual and interconnected.
And it's also a story about hope, right?
It is.
About the resilience of the human spirit.
The possibility for change.
The possibility for change, even in the face of,
Overwhelming challenges.
yeah, overwhelming challenges.
It does make you think.
It makes you think.
Like, what are the systems that control our lives? How can we break free from them?
How can we break free?
What does it mean to be human
Yeah,
in a world that's constantly evolving?
constantly evolving.
Where those lines between the real and the virtual are just
They're getting blurrier and blurrier.
interface may be fiction,
Yeah,
but the questions it raises, they're all too real.
they are real.
And I think that's why it resonates with people.
Yeah, it
It,
resonates
it's a mirror to our own
our own hopes and fears.
hopes, fears, anxieties about the future.
It really is, and it leaves us with that sense of wonder, right?
Yeah.
That feeling of what if?
That what if?
That makes great science fiction so captivating.
It's so captivating.
So for you listening,
Yeah.
keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep pushing the boundaries
Push those boundaries.
of your own reality.
Who knows what you might discover
You never know what you might discover
out there.
out there.